Senator Shelby.
Chairman, I'll try to be brief. These witnesses have endured a lot with us today, and we appreciate that. And I want to add to my the fact that the FBI agent and the CIA officer, we appreciate what you're doing, and we want you to continue to do that. But we should give you the tools and the resources to complete the job, and I think we understand that. This is directed to the Bureau. As I understand it, Al Midhar and Al Ozni, is that right?
Right, sir.
Did not use aliases when they were in the U.S. They lived in San Diego under their real names, signed rental agreements, and one even obtained a California motor vehicle photo ID card. According to your testimony, the CIA told the FBI that it was interested in these two terrorists as early as January 2000. In March, the CIA apparently learned that the terrorists had entered the United States. If the FBI had known that these suspected terrorists were in the U.S., would it have been difficult to track them down given that they were living entirely at that point in the open? You recounted that after the CIA told you in August of 2001 that these two should be watch list, that the FBI tried to locate them in New York and Los Angeles by searching for them under their real names. Did anyone at the Bureau think to use the Internet to conduct a national search for them in local phone books and other public records or commercial databases? Further, if the CIA had watched these two terrorists in early 2000 and they had been identified at the border, or if the FBI had managed to find them living openly as they were in San Diego, might you have been able to conduct some surveillance or something of them? You know, I know a lot of this is hindsight, but as we look back, I think it's worth bringing up, especially where they lived in the open. They were living under their own names. You want to?
Yes, Senator. I will say, as part of that conversation I talked to Congressman Reyes about,
right.
I was told that my name specifically could be not be on any paper regarding Al Midhar, or in the future we would lose that. But the night of September 11th, I submitted a request at that time to our information center, technology center, and they came back within hours with at least one address with regards to Khalid Al Midhar in San Diego through public resources. Now, I will caution saying that the names are unbelievable dealing with sometimes, and with just a name that it's difficult to just take a name and run a check. But it turns out that what came back with regards to that address was an accurate address for him in San Diego. And that was part of my concern voicing with regards to intelligence agents and the case assigned. Was that it was probably going to be assigned, at least initially, to not enough people. The guys that were trying to track him down were busy with all the advanced techniques at the time to try to get a hold of
resources too, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure, Senator. It is speculative as to exactly what would have been done had we found him. Let me just put it in a context. As of September...
Well, I put it in that context,
right,
because I think it's fair to do that.
I was interested to know just how many people are out there that we are looking for, and I asked. And ironically, as of September 1st, there are 7,295 FBI fugitives, most of them probably in this country, on whom we have process. Sort of a sobering thought that there are in excess of 830,000 local, state, and federal subjects who are being looked for a various number of crimes. With that said, had we been able to find them, there would have followed, I think, a pretty serious debate on exactly how far do you take this. The reason that we put people into the watch lists and databases, quite frankly, is to keep them out. So if now you find yourself in a position where a serious terrorist is in the country, I'm speculating, but I don't believe we would have followed, monitored, covered ad infinitum. A point in time would have had to come where probably seventh floor decision makers would have said, like we did in recent cases of people who we have arrested coming into this country, stop him, pick him up, question him.
Oh, that's a judgment call, and we understand that. Sometimes it's the right thing to do. Sometimes we find that you stop them and arrest them too fast. One last comment, Mr. Chairman, if you'll indulge me now. Yesterday, we had two former national security advisors, Mr. Sandy Berger, Mr. Brent Scowcroft. Mr. Scowcroft is no stranger to security knowledge of the world and others. But his statement that concerned me but didn't shock me said, and I'll try to paraphrase him, but I hope it's verbatim. He said basically that the safest place for a terrorist anywhere in the world was in the United States of America. And that concerns us all. And it should concern the CIA and the FBI and all the local people and the citizens. We know we have a challenge ahead of us, and we know we've got to have you to meet that challenge.
They actually wouldn't have been that hard to find had they had the information available to them, which was harbored by the CIA. There was a couple of times where the FBI, who were working at the CIA's Bin Laden issue station, who had viewed information through incoming cables where both Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hamzi had their photo IDs photocopied by the CIA and had gained multi-entry visas. For example, Mark Rossini, who was one of the few FBI agents working at the Bin Laden issue station, had viewed an incoming cable at the Bin Laden issue station, which had a photocopy of Khalid al-Mihdhar's passport, which was taken while he was staying at a hotel room in the United Arab Emirates. Rossini tried to contact the field office, but was stopped by CIA analyst Michael A. Casey from sharing the data, claiming it was not for the FBI to know. If Rossini actually went and shared the information, he could have gotten in trouble and arrested, actually. Doug Miller, who was also an FBI agent working at the Bin Laden issue station, had read cables which stated that both al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi had multi-entry visas. He drafted a cable that was to detail the information to FBI headquarters, but the cable was intercepted by Michael A. Casey. It was given to CIA Station Chief Tom Wilshire. The cable was sent to the sidelines, so to speak, and written on the cable said, "Please hold off on the cable for now, per Tom Wilshire." So both men really weren't that very hard to find. They lived out in the open for at least a year before they were using fake aliases to cover their tracks. But at least for the year 2000, if the FBI had the pertinent information, which was harbored by the CIA, they could have had at least arrested or kept a close watch on both men. To give you a short rundown, both al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi came into the country on January 15th of 2000. Both men arrived at LAX airport in Los Angeles and were met by a Saudi national named Omar al-Bayoumi. Bayoumi proceeds to co-sign a lease and give them $1,500 to help pay the rent. The location of the apartments was Parkwood Apartments in Claremont, San Diego, apartment number 150. By the way, the apartment was near the Masjid al-Islami Mosque, which had a notable imam, Anwar al-Awlaki. The two men would frequent the mosque weekly, and they would hold meetings with al-Awlaki behind closed doors. From here, al-Hazmi and al-Mihdhar would relocate to the home of the FBI informant, unbeknownst to them, of course. His name was Abdussadah Sheikh, but he wouldn't inform the FBI of his new residences, claiming that they weren't very interesting. They would stay with him until from May until December of 2000. In June, al-Mihdhar would travel to Yemen and would re-enter the U.S. with a fake passport he obtained. And then in February of 2001, he traveled to Afghanistan for months. On June 10th, he goes to Saudi Arabia for a month From there, he reapplied to re-enter the United States through the Visa Express program. And then on July 4th, 2001, Al-Midar re-enters the United States using a new passport he receives in Saudi Arabia. At the insistence of denying him one was J. Michael Springman, who was a U.S. Embassy employee who tried to hold off on 11 applicants, but was denied by the higher-ups there. And, of course, one of those people was Al-Midar. And most of them were involved with the 9/11 attacks, actually. And by August 2001, they purchased flight tickets using a computer at a library at William Patterson University in New Jersey. So what I'm trying to show here is that these guys left a noticeable paper trail, which wouldn't make them hard to find at all. Constantly using their real IDs in 2000, but using aliases by 2001. But the information which the CIA had collected on Al-Midar and Hazmi went far back as 1999. Travel documents show that they were in Yemen during the 2000 U.S. Cole bombing, and neither of the two men warranted a mention on the terrorist watch list. And to make matters worse, at the Bin Laden issue station, about 50 to 60 CIA officers read cables regarding the travels of both Khalid al-Midar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. So the blame doesn't start with the FBI. It definitely starts with the CIA not sharing the information, which could have had the FBI conduct a proper investigation in following these two men, or even arresting them, maybe halting the plans of the attacks of September 11th.